Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Cornerstone and Life Class tonight. And Pastor will be here in just a minute. Right now, I'm flying solo. Glad to see all of you guys here. Hello, Linda. Linda's the first one here tonight. Linda Langdon. Hi, sweetie. I'm glad you're here with us. And Kim, glad you're here, darling. Been thinking about you a whole bunch. I hope everything's going well for you. I'm just believing that it is. And there's Dee Dee. Hey, Dee Dee, we got your call. It that did help Reverend some. It did help Reverend some. I'm sure he'll tell you more about it. But thank you for what you guys brought him. Now, hello, Apostle Norman. Apostle Norman. Hey, man, I listened to you on Sunday. That was some kind of message. I tell you what, you need to be on YouTube so we can go back and look at those things over and over and over. But thanks so much for being open to the Spirit to give all that stuff out to them. That was such a powerful message. I can't remember what you call this, part of the Genesis series, I think, but it was so good. Listen to it. It's good. You guys can go back on his page and look at it. Hello, Jill. Glad you're here, baby. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. Mr. Joe, how are you? I hope you're doing well. It's been a nice day. It's been kind of hot, but it's been a nice day. Very nice day. Hello, James D. And there's John Greason coming in the house. And Kim says, yes, call me, sweetie. Call me. Yeah, I have had you on my mind a whole bunch. And there's my sissy. Sissy, I did get your call. I just haven't had a chance to return it. But thank you for thinking about me, baby. Thank you. Yeah, that was the name of your sermon on Sunday, was What is Man? Man, that was good. Man, that was good. That was excellent. It was a powerful message. And very well thought out and very well communicated. It wouldn't have been hard for anybody to get that. That was a very good message. Hey, Sister Pearl, glad you're here, sweetheart. I hear Pastor rustling in the background. He'll be here in just a minute. Hello, Diane. Glad you're here, darling. And Pat, I hope you're feeling better, sweetie. That's Vern. We had a good conversation today. Hey, Vern. And Marquesa, good to have you with us. Listen, that was such a great message on Sunday. I want to encourage everybody to go to Pastor Norman's page. Is it under Norman Armstrong or is it under Bold Ministries? Let us know. Go back and listen to the message. It was very, very good. You'll have to have a couple of hours to listen to it, but it was great. It was great. Worth spending the time to listen to. Anyway, what is man is a very good question. Very good question. I felt like today I wanted to give you guys a chance to ask a question. We could do a whole lot, say a whole lot, but I wanted to give you a chance to ask a question. If it's one that's burning in you, not so much. Don't ask me about how Noah got the animals in the ark now. We're not going to talk about that, but something that pertains to your freedom and your coming into your awareness of being your God essence. Anything that you can think of as to where you are in your stage of life, in your journey. Those are the kinds of questions that we welcome because it gives us a chance to respond. And a lot of times it will give us inspiration to even give you more. And Pastor Norman said that's under Norman Armstrong Ministries. If you go to Facebook, that's where you'll see it. Anyway, if you take the time to listen to it, you would enjoy it. I'm pretty sure. It's some good old preaching, but it's some very good information as well. So now here comes my shotgun man here.
Okay.
You in?
I'm in, girl.
Did you get your business taken care of?
Sure did.
Very good. So what are you eating?
Hershey bar. You know.
Had to get him a little shot of Hershey bar before he came in. So let's do this. And I'm kind of stuffy, so if you hear me snorting, that'll be why. Baby girl's over here on the side asking for a treat. But while he's getting ready, I want you to just center in. If you're not busy doing dishes or cooking or whatever you're doing, I would like for you to just take a minute to gear down, just so that when we do start, you'll be able to hear and put your attention into what we're actually saying. Um, Jill has a question. How do you work with a dream mentor? That may take a session, but that's a good question. We'll hold on to that. Good afternoon, Judy Hill. All right, now let's just pretend you're gonna leave your shoes outside. You're gonna leave your mind outside. You're gonna suspend all of your thoughts about the past and about the future. Suspend all of that for a while. All your thoughts about the past and memories, who you take yourself to be, what you studied, what you've done before. Just put all of those things aside for a while, just for a moment, so that you can be present. Don't engage in any idea about the future. Even this present moment, suspend all your thoughts about right now and how this session is going to go, or what we're going to say, or how we're not going to do this or that. So just suspend every thought about right now. And I know you can do that. Even the idea of yourself, your identity, just suspend everything and sit in this space empty. Sit in this space empty. Don't think about what's coming next. Okay, don't use your imagination or thinking. Just sit here empty. Be still and know. Just be still and know. And when you do that, you're still here. Even though you put all that aside, you're still here and you're present. You're very present. So let's do this. I want you to repeat after me. I am not this body, nor these thoughts, nor these feelings. I am consciousness itself. I am the background upon which all things appear. I am not any form, but I am the essence of all forms. I am the space between thoughts. This space, this place is where I live. I am always here. No one can touch me. No one can enter here where I am. Even my mind cannot enter here. I may forget who I am. I may forget where I am. But I cannot forget that I am. I am this knowing that knows that I am. I may forget who I am. I may forget where I am. But I cannot forget that I am. I am this knowing that knows that I am. And so it is. So that tells me that I am no more than awareness. I am a knowing. I am knowing. And that is what I am. I'm this knowing. I am this awareness of being aware. And that is what God is.
Mm-hmm.
Simply aware. If you think of God in its unmanifest state, we are God manifested, and God unmanifest is simply awareness. What you talking about tonight, Mr. Sawyer?
Well, I was just listening to you, and I see somebody talking about the dream mentor.
Yeah, Jill asked that question. I told them that if they had a question, they could ask it, as long as it pertained to freedom, their freedom and their spiritual walk.
What I had to do to find out about a dream mentor, the first thing I had to hear the terminology.
And I think you were the first I heard talking about a dream mentor.
I was searching, and then when I run across the word, a lot of times uh, the infinite you will respond to you if you're willing to endeavor into the research of something that you are trusting will unveil itself to you. And when it does, the inner witness of your true self will show you more about it.
Mm-hmm,
One of the main
mm-hmm,
things you have to do is, like she said at the beginning, you must be willing to give up your past teachings about things like this.
Yeah.
Because the old stuff is crowding out what you need to receive. Say if you got 25 cents in your right hand and somebody want to give you $10, in order for you to get that $10, you got to let the 25 cents go.
Mm-hmm.
And
so we should hold on to things, but with an open hand.
With an open hand.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I changed the approach of dreams, I don't have dreams. I don't even use the word dream. I call it out of body travel. I call it traveling in my sleep. And I leave, see, some word terminology will shut down certain spirit light beings for the sake of showing them that you're open by calling them what they sense they are.
Can you tell us what, you may already be saying it, but can you give us an idea of what a dream mentor actually is? Jill says she's thinking that the dream mentor is another form of herself.
It is, but it's identified as a light being or a part of you, like the Shekinah glory and the archives and the council chamber. All of these things are made into you, and that's what you are.
Interrelated. Everything's interrelated.
The game is to talk about them. So a lot of times I come in on the other side, I'm aware of watching myself come into the council chamber. And at the same time, I was able to see an angel standing behind me, which was one of my guides, but it was really me.
And that's because you're familiar with your multidimensional self.
I'm willing to investigate into things without asking anybody any questions about anything. Mm-hmm. So when I decided to stop saying last night I had a dream, I would say to people, I went somewhere and this is what I saw. Mm-hmm. I leave off certain terminology and certain phraseology because certain things you say will shut down your investigative senses.
Mm-hmm. Now and I have to admit, now I know everything you said is true, absolutely true. However, there are times when the subconscious will vent through dream experiences, but they are still pretty much traveling astrally.
That's you.
And your subconscious objectifies objectifies whatever it is that you're experiencing in your day-to-day activities. Anything that's impacting you, influencing you negatively or positively, it will come through in your dream experience as objects or persons that are symbols of those things that you're dealing with.
I look at it like this. When I'm walking sometime in the morning, I practice awareness, and I say, in my inner self, I sense another being walking with me. Mm-hmm. So what I do, it's child. It's like being a child. I turn
being
and I say,
childlike.
Yeah,
yes.
I turn around and I say, good morning. How you doing? I just talk like he's there. and that creates it. But at the same time, it's been there all the time. I just acknowledge it, and I'll say thank you for being with us. Let's walk. And as I walk, I become aware that something being said. I said, "Oh, really?" And that's the same way I talk to children.
Practice. There years ago, there was a book called Practicing the Presence of God. And that's pretty much what you're doing. But you're practicing the presence of the spirit world, period.
If I was going to talk to a baby in the womb, the first thing I would do is act like I'm aware that a child is there, which is evidence. And like the lady was out in the yard yesterday.
And that you can communicate with them.
You have to be willing to accept the fact that there is a communication line between you and that. So what I do, I say, well, hello in there, how you doing? And then I pretend like, which is true, like I can hear. I say, yes. Really?
In other words, you activate and instigate the communication.
I say, when?
Yeah.
And he may not even say anything, but I go on with it. And I say, how long? Really? Yesterday or day before? Yeah.
And pretty soon you start to get intuitive information.
I open the channel up for this by deliberately saying things that opens the channel.
So now how does that apply to what she's asked about dream mentoring?
In the dream mentor, the terminology dream mentor gives the definition that there's a part of you or an angelic being with you that can explain to you what these things really mean and give you voice or give you a place to see different than just being a dream. To me, a dream is to me, it's not saying.
A lot of people get caught, or I should say stuck, on wanting to interpret dreams.
Yeah,
and I think that's what you're talking
saying,
about. Yes.
God showed me how to interpret dreams. I stay away from that because that's your ego talking.
Yeah. But at the same time, there have been times when I have been able to interpret what a person was experiencing in their dreams. So Jill says this, so I can ask, what are you showing me?
Yeah, and when you ask him, you say, well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And even though you don't have anything, you say, oh, now I see. You don't have to see that, but eventually you will.
Yeah, last night I was watching YouTube, Neil Donald Walsh, his audio book, of course, The Conversations with God, and he has several other books that he's done since then. And the thing that I realized with Neil Walsh is that it's just like you said, I can ask, what are you showing me? The whole book, the whole coming together of coming into being of that book came from him asking God and having an actual conversation, and God is speaking back to him, not as so much as a voice, but as an intuition coming through. And he wrote down everything that he felt God was speaking to him. And at that point, and at the end of that, he had a whole book.
Well, like you say, so I can ask, what are you showing me? Instead of me asking that, I would say, thank you.
Thank you for showing me.
I appreciate that. And you say, yeah? Oh, thank you so much. I felt like it was. And then all of a sudden,
I receive that now. I receive it now, yes.
When I'm talking to a baby in the stomach, I say, yes. When, how long, where, and then all of a sudden I know. But as long as you talk to that part of you like it is distant, you act like it is not real, you act like it's just, the terminology of a dream in your programming is it's not real.
Yeah, I do. I know that God sometimes speaks to us in dreams, but I don't personally put a lot of stock in my dreams, simply because I know that the subconscious will objectify things that I'm already dealing with. And sometimes I can misinterpret. And if I say God is showing me this particular thing, I can misinterpret what's being shown or what I'm experiencing in the dream. So a lot of times I don't put a lot of value or in the dream thing unless I know, for instance, that it's bringing up something that I have to contemplate. When I contemplate, then that's when more comes to me in the way of intuition. Linda Langdon said this: in consciousness, the waking state or dream is not different than the sleep state dream. That's correct. Because we're all in this physical existence to a degree dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
It's all conscious experience. Yes.
Now I'm beginning to find out I am being cautious and checked about this dream world. And the reason why I say it like that, Miss Linda, is because I'm finding out that even this dream world was created by the infinite as a dream world.
Yeah.
It is created as an experience for us. So I'm very cautious about the way I say this world is a dream, because I know it was all created by us and by God. But at the same time, you must find out how to say things to your inner self that will cause it to respond. It's like you talking to somebody and they're looking at television and you saying something, but they can't hear you. But when you say something in the subject that interests them, then they'll turn and look at you. So you got to find a way to communicate with your inner self with the right verbalage.
Right. And I'm finding too that our understanding correlates with the unfoldment of our consciousness, the level of our consciousness. When we have evolved to a certain point, there is an ability to see more clarity than before I evolved to that point.
In other words, I see before I see.
Okay.
I'll say, oh, I see what you mean. I understand. And like, for instance, I'll find something and I know it was either my angel or my inner self that did it. I say, and always give this to either of them. Thank you. Always so appreciation.
That was a good question, Jill. Anybody else have another question? Make sure you just type it in and we'll address it for you.
Jesus made a statement here in John. He said, therefore doeth my Father love me, because I lay down my life that I might take it again. See, he's saying, I lay it down, then I turn around and take it up. Now, what he's saying is, I and my Father are one and the same. The mental and the ego part of us, which is not bad or good, separates things and make it look like it's two. But I am the one, as the Father and the Son, that lay it down, and as the Father and the Son, I take it up. But then he said, no man taketh it from me. When he said no man, when you start thinking of separation from God and individuality, you're thinking like men.
Yes.
So you refuse to think like men.
And that, in essence, of what, going back to what Linda expressed, that is the dream state.
The dream state is the men state.
Is the men or the man human state.
Yeah, and you stay out of that if you want to have the right verbiage toward your inner self. And then he said, no man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself, and I have power to lay it down and have power to take it up again. This command, and listen, it's the same way with us.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. You lay it down. When I get ready, I can take it up. That's you. It's telling you, change as a way you can change the way you look and say things that would automatically activate your super self.
Yes.
But if you don't talk to your super self correctly, you'll speak from it, you'll remain as a man, or in that low state.
As a human, yes. Yeah. And that's what the whole purpose of when we do the questions that I always ask, that I've been asking guys.
We call it loaded questions.
You are speaking as consciousness from the state of being consciousness. And so you're not speaking relative to the body or the mind or the physical existence. When you answer those questions, you all answer them correctly because you know who you are.
And some of the people, when Jesus was talking about this, they said, this man has got a devil. Others said, they are not words of him that hath a devil. Can a devil open the eyes of the blind? And it was a conversation because Jesus was talking inner and outer talk to the Father. And when he talked to the Father, he was talking to his highest self.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he knew when, see, here's the key to discernment. When you hear yourself or others' carnal conversation, you need to know or be aware of where is it coming from.
Where are they
There's
speaking
no
from?
judgment there,
Yeah.
but you need to be able to sharpen your ear. Like my dog, she can
Yeah.
hear things that we can't. That should not, a dog should not be able to hear what we can't.
So locating where they are
Speaking
positioned
from.
or speaking
Mhm.
from, yes.
And as you
Yes.
get familiar with this, you will be able to tell what it is and where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mhm.
called the sharpening of your middle ear.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ear inside that is the intuitive. But
Yes.
anyway,
Yes, that's good. That's good.
you are the unconverted word of God.
Unconverted.
Yeah, the unconverted word of God as the eternal self. You never have been lost
Right.
as the eternal self. You are willfully entered into the phrase of being physically born, but in actuality, you gave up a certain degree of your identity to experience physical birth, but you must gain, here's it is, you must gain it back after coming into this world. It would be easier if your parents understood this, but since they don't, watch this. In the spiritual realm, you have to be your father, your mother, your mentor, your guide, your spirit guide, spirit self. You're playing all these parts in order to come back to your original self in this earth realm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because there's no other way. And you know the reason what we're talking about now is you operating in your perfect self, which the mind and the ego will tell you none is perfect but God. But look at this, honey. The God part of you is God, and it is no more, no less than what you really were before you came into this body.
And I think that troubles the mind because when we think of the word God, we think of supernatural exploitations and all of that. But to live your life, and that's one of the things I was impressed with Pastor Norman's message on Sunday. Your very life is worship. Your very life.
Our very life is
worshiping God.
Worship and prayer.
Yes.
Just sitting here talking. Yes. This is a conversational prayer.
It's not you doing devotional things, which I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't, and you should do that, and you can do that.
Yeah.
But that is not worshiping God. Worshiping God is when your life is lived, and when God looks at you, He sees Himself.
The names that you have on the screen, Deborah, Sharon, Jill, Linda, and on down the line, these names are not important when it comes down to your true identity. Yes. You're just using them in the earth realm, but your real name is I am or nameless. Yes. The best part of you that is yet to be revealed to your mind is in these bodies. Now, you are very, very patient with the mind and the body because, listen to this, because you as the eternal self can, oh boy, this is a good one. Your eternal self can never be intimidated.
Well, and because the mind and the body are still awareness, they're just contracted states of awareness.
And the reason why your eternal self cannot be intimidated by mind, body, you created it. And somebody would say, well, the mind created self. No,
yes,
let's
yes.
go back.
The ordinary man lives in the brain and is unaware of himself in the heart, as the heart. The average person lives in their brain.
You are so God hooked up that you don't even have to mention it, and it still works.
That's true. Jill says, I was contemplating this cycle last week. How many Garden of Gethsemane have we been through?
In one right now. It is.
I think we're in the garden.
You know what? We as eternal beings, there's nothing that surprises us. But you got to lock in And look, let's sit down now. Let's sit down at the table with our God, ourselves, and all the counsel inside of us. Let's have a little talk with everything that we're made out of and come to the final settlement with our minds, our heads, and heart. Look, I am aware now of the whole thing.
Mhm.
Let's move on because I am convinced that you and I and the Father are one and the same. But now, this has to be said in the right, I would say not under law, but in the right vocabulary. Because if you don't say it,
Yeah, and Norman said it this way on Sunday in his message. He said, "You're not asking the right questions
now you got it.
for God to respond."
And he's responding by not answering you,
Yes.
and he's responding
Yes.
by letting you know. It's called it's called learning eternal uh, skills of communication.
Yeah.
That's I like that because I like that communication skill. Somebody asked me, say, go get a three-quarter wrench. I don't know what that is. Let's go pick up all of them. But when you learn the definition of the word, you know what? I always tell people like a dog. It's amazing how dogs, you can be from Germany, speak Latin and French. They'll understand you by tones. Once you understand the seven tones of God, like the seven manifestations of God, the seven tones of the seven sounds that relate to God, like blowing a dog whistle that dog can only hear, you must learn some of the most amazing functions of your eternal self is absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah.
And in order for you to do this, your mind has got to be blown.
Yeah.
It's got to be blown because you cannot think the first, second, third grade, eighth grade, 12th grade degrees, diplomas in college when it comes down to this. Because God is not stuck in a college.
This is not intellect.
No, it's not intellect at all.
Mm-mm.
It is a heart thing, communication.
Yes, it's not intellect. And that's why a lot of times when you're speaking from that mystical realm, it goes over the heads of people and they're like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Because they're trying to understand it with their mind and their intellect.
All divisions between you, God, spirit world, heaven, council room, and every being in the universe, or what it is, you have to be all of them. Your thinking has to change.
Yes.
One of the things that has to be changed about your distance between you and God. I am talking to God now. God is talking now. God is listening now. So there's no such thing as God not seeing, hearing, and experiencing everything. That is who you are.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
praying to God is praying to the Father. And I want to leave the word prayer out. Let's say communicating with God and communicating with Jesus. Do you know you are communicating with every spirit being in the Bible, the course, and all over the universe?
Not only that, but you're praying or communicating with your body gestures, your attitude, your focus, any focus that stems on your thought life or your emotional life. That is prayer, but we don't call it that. But that's what it is because the universe, God, divine intelligence picks up on all of that.
Darkness is nothing but you not being able to understand yourself.
Exactly. I want to mention what Judy says here. Judy says, so we are always our God's selves, regardless of our awareness of that.
Thank you.
Regardless of our thoughts, words, and deeds.
Oh, glory.
And God is expressing himself through us, as us, even when we are identifying with our small self rather than our true self.
We call it disjointed self.
Yes, Miss Judy, that is right. Absolutely correct.
Now now you can take that to the bank.
And I know it's correct, not because I read it or I heard it, but because I'm living it. And I've noticed that when I'm identifying with my small self and what we would call acting out of character of my true essence, I am doing that ultimately to play a role for someone else to evolve.
Notice the flavor, the smell, and the fragrance of what you're saying.
Mhm.
That fragrance and smell is what spirit communicates with.
Yes.
And you
yes.
can smell, you can see without eyes, hear without ears,
Mhm.
talk without a
Mhm.
mouth and a tongue, walk without feet and legs,
Mhm.
and know without studying any book.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. 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 Yes, Judy.
Now,
That was so great.
what we're talking about, Miss Judy, this is grown folks talk. This ain't no baby
It's
talk. This
for
is grown folks.
mature. It's
Yeah.
for mature people who are serious about their
Mm-hmm.
spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. It
Okay.
is. Thank you so much, Judy. That was great. That was great. In fact, I'm going to leave it up there for just a minute.
But one of the reasons why we have so much trouble telling the difference between darkness and light and guidance is that we don't go deep enough into our non-disturbed self, undisturbed self,
Mhm.
the one part of us that God is now and will always remain so entrenched with us. One of the hardest things for us to see
Mm,
is our
mm.
own face without
Yes.
looking in a mirror.
Yes.
So God is
Yes.
our face.
Yes. Yes. I got to get something I wrote down last night.
Mhm.
I got to get it right quick. Excuse me, baby girl. Excuse me.
Oneness with God and all light beings is called deep union, oneness. And then pretty soon the word union will be removed. Some of the things that we're saying here online, eventually, as you move further in, I want to tell you this. The older you get into this physical world, toward close to leaving, you're going to go back to the state that you were in before you came into the womb, but a little more advanced when you get to a certain age. So
Yes.
you
Yes.
are an advanced substance of God moving around in the earth. You are so much awesome that when you get ready to leave this body, not anything take you out. It appeared that well, somebody the
Mm-hmm.
devil took it. Look, I don't want to hear anything about that. All I know is that
I know.
you are the one that decide when to come and when to leave. Jesus said it plainly, and I'm not basing it on what Jesus said so much as I am basing it on facts that I found out with or without approval of a text or anything like that.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to read this. I don't want. Please don't judge it. I've I've started to, and I've been doing it for years, but more so now, I'm really making myself deliberately do it, and that is to write down my streams of consciousness. And so, this is what came out of me last night about 2 in the morning, as I got up with baby girl, and I just sat down and began to write. And it may resonate with you, it may not, but anyway, I'm going to read it. It says this: as awareness, I fly. I soar like the eagle, for I am the eagle, just as I am the one that crawls on the earth. I have felt the freedom of being beyond reach. I have also felt the cunning ability to hide in plain sight. No one has ever seen me, but everyone has always looked at me. There are those who have the ability to shift their perceptions, and it is those gifted ones who have discovered my hiding place and peered into my eyes. And as they gazed into my eyes, they were no longer. What walks away is that which has been seen. So even that one is no more the one who found me. That which finds can only be that which is found. That which walks away is camouflaged by human perception. As I walk away from the discovery of myself, I am emboldened to be authentically what I am. Some have called me God, but I am addressed by many names and titles. In reality, I am nameless and I have no face for one to remember, but I assume all faces as my own.
Mm-hmm.
I have taken on the task of mastering of that the limitations that accompany the existence of this incarnation. Incarnating affected the memory I have of myself, but I have designed this adventure perfectly, and am an expert at finding the clues that I left myself so that I would one day wake up from the induced coma of being human. No one escapes the amnesia when they incarnate. Being earthbound, we lose sight of our own unbridled omnipotence.
The key revelation of God in our life is the marriage or the merger of consciousness
Mhm.
into one's eternal self to discover you are in and outside God at the same time. There is no problem at all. When you understand the fullness of your weaving in and out, you can go anywhere you want to go in the spirit world. And if you're not there, you'll be there. If you're there and want to leave, you can leave and still be there. You're not someone somewhere else at another time at another place, but yet you are in all places at one time. God is the only one, which is you, that can be right here now and leave and go somewhere else and still be right there here at the same time.
And you're the same way.
You're the same
Linda
way.
says this, think of asking yourself, is God conscious and aware? Well, of course you will say, yes, of course, God is. That same consciousness God is, you are. So intimate, close, we overlook the significance. Yes, ma'am. That's exactly right. And thank you, Judy. Thank you. I have determined that I'm going to write down my streams of consciousness. And sometimes they speak very deeply about that we are. And so I'm just getting used to doing that. So I don't think I'll have a book called Conversations with God, but I may have one called Contemplations.
What eventually will be seen is in our waking up or to full awareness is that there is no more questions, but all answers. Now, and one thing I remember happening when Jesus asked me a question, I thought he was asking me as an independent agent.
Yes.
God will ask himself a question and then turn on answer himself.
Yes, he'll ask the question, or he'll put the question in your mind, knowing that only he could answer that question.
And the only thing that it is, God himself as you,
oh my gosh,
God himself as us is become very skillful in listening to himself talk to himself.
Yes.
Now that to me is juicy,
and that's what this was for me. It was God speaking.
Oh, it's kind of like
to me, but also me speaking as that.
So it's like God writing a letter to himself.
Exactly.
That's what you call perfect conversational communicating prayer.
Yeah, and that is how Neil Donald Walsh wrote that book. That's exactly how he did it.
So the names that we are given through many lifetimes is only like receiving a ticket to a theater. Once you get in the theater, you might throw that ticket in the trash. You might put it away in your billfold. But after you're in there, you're no longer interested in that ticket that got you in the door. Now, you can go and come.
But we used to save the stubs to remind us that we experienced that. Yes, that we had a good experience with that.
You are, Renee, I see this word sharing. Here's something for you. You are sharing God with himself. He loves to sit down and be entreated by the game. Let's say you're putting a puzzle together. You are the puzzle, and you are the one that's putting it together. And the whole thing is God.
All of it is God. Everything.
You know what?
Our whole life is God.
Let me tell you something, y'all. This thing here is just absolutely. You can't. Oh Lord, you don't have to feel good or feel bad.
You don't. That's right.
It's too, sweetheart. It's too late. It's all God. Now, if you want to create a demon or a devil, help yourself.
Yeah.
But you can't get
I,
out of the fact that you are the creator of all of this, and there's no ego in there to be pat on the back and just say, "Look what I did."
and
No,
I
you.
remember when we were in the brick and mortar, and we used to try to be the Holy Ghost for everybody, the Holy Spirit for everybody, the police them for God, and we were going to enforce God's laws and God's ways, and we spent our all of our effort and our energy trying to keep people in that confine of what we thought, so that the church would not be contaminated,
Yes,
or
Lord.
whatever. So I remember the day that you stood on the floor and you said, I got too many good things to talk about to deal with your issues.
That's the truth.
And you decided at that point, I'm not going to deal with this no more.
No, 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 no.
We
no.
just, at that point, we just dropped trying to make people live a certain way.
We had two couples in the church. Both of them on both sides used to be married to the same one at a different time. And they were sitting right behind each other. Husband was married to one another, wife with another, and it was two couples, and they interchanged and married a different one, and yet they went to the same church, which was ours.
And
So-
some of our assistants were very upset about it,
Yeah.
wondering what we were going to do. But we had decided we weren't going to be the Holy Spirit for them anymore.
So they called me in the back, and my sister told me, said, Reverend, we got to do something about this. I said, what? He said that there's two of them sitting there together. They both been married to each other.
That we realized that
And-
is not
and you know
our
what?
purpose.
Those two couples were the most faithful one of all. They were the most compassionate, sensitive. They looked at each other, and to this day, they still are in communication with us.
Yeah. I wanted to address something that Sissy said in about what I wrote, and I shared with them that it came from a non-human place. And she and I talked the last time we were together riding in the car, and I told her I often do this, write these things down, and then I'll forget about them, and then maybe go back weeks, months, years, sometimes years later, and read it, and I think, did I write that? Because I know it came from a non-human place.
We are at a place where we're getting ready to show, or already showing, the illusion that it need not do anything to us from this moment on to prove to us that it is a story. I am through with the story. And if it wants to try to persuade me that it is not real, it can't do it now. All I'm interested in is observing the trick.
Yes.
All I know is that I took a deep breath one day and I saw Jesus Christ in everything in the universe. His name may be Course in Miracles. He may be King James.
When you say that, you're not talking about seeing a religious image.
No.
That is not what you're talking about. But you've chosen to see people, the one standing, the being standing in front of you. You're choosing to see that one without all of the perceptions and conditions that they've been in.
There's only one thing that can correct your mind.
What's that?
Your infinite self. God is the only, your God identity is the only one that can correct a harlot's mind, a prostitute mind. Somebody say, well, now, how can I live? You got people say, I can't live around them because they ain't saved.
Oh, I know.
You need to go find, go uptown and just play in traffic. You'd be better off, because God does not have any problem with any of them.
He doesn't. Right. God does not have a problem.
Now, when the mind repent for believing that it knows more than your heart, then your mind is ready to be born again.
And that is when the mind comes subject to that God self that you are.
That's right.
When it comes subject to that God self, it is only there when it's needed. It will stand at attention for when you need it, not so much to run your life or to control your life, to try to micromanage, but it will not disturb you if it starts to spout off, because like I said, it is given to this physical being for a means of survival. So it will evaluate, it will assess, it will interpret, it will come to conclusions. So while it's doing all of that, it comes sometimes, most times, to the wrong conclusion.
Mhm.
So you don't have to always follow its storyline. And
Mhm.
and we've been really habitually following the storyline that the
Mhm.
mind has been predicting. And as it assesses and goes through its workings of trying to come to a conclusion, a lot of times we get lost in that.
Due to the fact that the coronavirus, that's what it is,
COVID,
COVID,
COVID.
has taken place in the physical world. Let me tell you something. A lot of these brick and mortar churches and people will not go back like they used to be.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are still holding on to the past to try to make it that way. And
Mhm.
then a lot of them are being foolish by saying, God didn't tell me that I had this, but Jesus took all the way from a foolishness, presumptions will get you nowhere. All you need to do is just do what needs to be done to protect your family and your loved one and stop acting stubborn
Yes.
in your ego mind. I had somebody out there in the yard the other day working in a cutting tree. Have you had the booster shot? I don't believe in it. I ain't going to take it. Okay.
And that's
Mm,
their right.
that's their right.
Mhm.
I ain't fussing with them, arguing with them. I just said, well, I've had all of mine. And if there's another booster I need to get, I'll booster it.
Exactly.
But anyway,
We
you
hope we
guys,
hope you got something out of tonight. This hour went quick, didn't
yeah,
it?
it did. It
It
really
went
did.
very quick. But I've enjoyed talking to you guys tonight.
Thank you so much for financially taking care of us and more than
Yes,
anything,
yes, yes, yes.
physically being manifested on our site and coming from such distant places that you are. You are now on the Starship Enterprise and you are beaming into us 24/7. And I thank you all for the great gift of beingness. We never would have met you if it hadn't been for the virus. It shut down some
That's true.
things. That's right. If it hadn't
Yeah,
been for that virus, we never
yeah,
would have met some of you guys.
exactly.
And so,
Yeah.
since you guys are out there and you're coming forth in full power, full strength, let it be made known in the annals of the Hall Book of Records that you and I
Mhm.
are fully aware and awake of the truth of God in all men in such a way
Yes,
that
yes,
we are
yes,
not under
yes.
judgment or we are not under pressure, but by the love of grace of God, we are now in perfect communication with all of them at once.
Yes, thank you, Judy. She said, "Wonderful evening with you guys,"
It has
and it's
always been that way.
always wonderful when we come
You're
to
my
see
little
you
nurse,
guys.
Miss Judy. You're the nurse. I love to see your picture there. Maybe
Yeah.
one day I get a chance to hug your neck. I want to so bad,
Oh, would
all
that
of
be
it.
great? That would be
That
so
would really be
good.
good. I
Oh
hug your neck
man.
until I squeeze the lemon juice out of you. But thank you so much, Pastor Norman.
Uh,
You've been a great help to us, and Miss Jill, and I could call everybody's name on this side.
mhm,
That you have been
mhm,
a wonderful
mhm.
heart of the. You are the heart of God, expressing itself now on this site.
Yes,
And
yes,
I thank
yes.
you, Jesus, and I thank you, Spirit of God. I thank you to your true pure self for existing in a world of pure heart communication.
I just felt this, and I don't know why I feel this, but I want to speak to the ethers
Yes,
and the atmosphere
yes.
that there be open opportunities for abundance to come to all of us.
Hmm.
To
Hmm.
all of us. I just felt that there it's almost I felt it almost like rain.
Hmm.
That there are going to be some abundant miracles taking place. And they're not really miracles now, they're just our norm. They're our norm. But
Hmm.
I thank God in advance for that happening. And I really feel that's going to happen. That's going to happen soon, very soon this week. I think you're going to experience
I keep
some
seeing the
different
number.
types of
I
abundance.
keep hearing the number 10,000 coming
Hmm.
to me,
Okay.
and I go to the mailbox and look for it. I don't know what it is, but it's a way that it's taking place. and I speak the blessings of God. To 23.
Linda says, we are the clues we left ourselves. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes.
Yes. And Jill says she's glad we pivoted. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did too. It hasn't been anything hard for us. It hasn't been difficult. It's actually been very easy for us to do this. Different, but very easy for us to come online and do this. It was we were just kind of made for it, I guess.
And now we'll be back on with Pastor Norman on Thursday at 12:30.
Yes, we will. We'll be back with Pastor Norman unless he gets caught up doing something or he takes flight and goes off into the other world. But we will be back with him on Thursday at 12:30, hopefully. And I'd like to talk to him more about that message he had about what is man. That was great. If you get a chance to look at it, go ahead and look at it. It's a good sermon. Thank you, Sissy. She accepts the abundance. Apostle Norman says he agrees. Thank you. We are going to take off here, and we love you so much. We'll see you again on Thursday at 12:30 and on Sunday at 10.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.
Fast, wasn't it?